One of us has to be funny. One of us has to be funny.
Hang on, everybody shut the fuck up. Hello?
No. Olivia, get on the podcast. I'm firing Olivia from...
Hello, Mr. Obama. It is time for a podcast.
Hello. It's time for the podcast.
Hello, Mr. Obama. This is the Fool's Chronicle.
Welcome to the Fool's Chronicle Talkback, episode 3 for episode 3 by the Fool's Chronicle. Is that what we do?
I don't have a fucking clue, dog.
Something like that.
You would know.
Couldn't tell
I
you.
edit these, so I would know.
Aren't you in charge of format or whatever?
I'm in charge of many things.
You get paid the big bucks for a reason.
I don't get paid any bucks.
Not unless more people subscribe to our Patreon. Thank you, loyal Patreon listeners.
Thank you, Patreon subscribers.
Yeah. To everyone on the Scholars tier.
Or above.
Or above.
Thank you for listening. Today we have some questions from, oh my god, I forgot to introduce us. I am Shawn Tumbokenflowers, your GM.
I'm Olivia Manning. I play Ivanka Dove.
I am Dylan Manning. I play Mirai the Storm Cardera.
I'm Ren French, and I assume you know who we are if you're on episode 3 Talkback.
I'm Sylvie Keys, and my favorite book is The Last Unicorn.
Yeah,
that's good.
And Sylvie, do you have maybe some questions for us?
No, we're actually out of questions today. No, I have.
We ran out.
Our question machine broke. Question machine broke. No, I've got a few questions for you all. Okay, so it's actually just going to be an entire Talkback episode worth of me playing with this little fidget toy that I shouldn't be playing with.
We're just
right
fucking
now.
around. We're just fucking around.
Dylan.
No. Every single time. Okay, here's the thing about our podcast is that everyone in this podcast needs to be fidgeting with things all the time, constantly. I actually got Olivia a very quiet fidget thing, so I wouldn't have to edit out.
Everybody introduce your fidget toys. Mine is a worry stone.
Where's my fucking slug?
Olivia's is a
the
slug.
slug is not your podcast fidget toy for a reason.
Not podcast
for
toy.
the podcast, yeah, I have a little frog whose eyes you can just stare into forever.
I have this little heart puzzle. It's made of like 5 pieces, and you take it apart and you put it together again, and I love him.
Hell yeah!
Is it made of plastic?
Yes.
Ren, what's your fidget toy?
I'm just thinking about the editing I'll have to do to make sure that no one hears it.
I have a clear plastic coin that says Purdue Polytechnic on it.
And Ren, I see you're putting it scarily close to it's in your mouth.
It's been in my mouth. I don't know did you miss that bit? It goes in my mouth.
It goes in the way of the voice from the podcast.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Everyone's putting their fidget toys in their mouth. We should have not done video for this ever.
We are children.
Hey, Shawn, what's your fidget toy?
I don't fidget with things during the podcast. I just podcast.
His fidget toy is the podcast. So.
I fidget
It's the
with
art
the
of it all.
podcast. I'm enraptured by reading my DM notes and watching the Audacity thing just do its little thing.
Fucking nerd. Anyways, who wants to get into these questions?
Me.
Amazing. Great, Olivia. Olivia, I appreciate your enthusiasm because this first one goes to you. This episode was kind of like our Jazz Hands Debonair debut, which is very exciting. We didn't get him for very long.
But we got him.
We got him, and the music that accompanied his arrival was really freaking nice. The first thing I thought is it reminded me of a sunset, which is really weird in a world without a sun. And I want to know more about this music. Just tell me about it, please.
Yeah, so everybody, welcome to Olivia's Music Corner, where I get a designated 3 to 5 minutes of the podcast to talk about the music. So the music for this episode, just generally, first of all, was kind of weird because this is such a short episode. This is such a, not to say not plot relevant, but, nothing hugely cinematic occurs in this episode, right? It's sort of just cleaning things up and tying up loose ends. So, but I still, I didn't want it to just be, devoid of music. That felt unfair. So I just picked out the moments that were sort of the most foreshadowing music-wise. Mm-hmm. So Debonair's thing, I tried for so long to, make some sort of sweeping romantic melody line for him and something that was,
it was very nice.
Super cool or whatever. And then I was like, fuck it, we're just gonna make a lullaby. We're just gonna make Debonair's Lullaby, and that's what it is. It's got the little flute add-on, it's got the little guitars, it's got like a tambourine and some like claves, and I just think that that's exactly what he is and what he needs to be in the story, which is just kind of a breath of fresh air for Dove. And then the only other thing that I wrote music for was Lady Drake, who is kind of sexy and dark in this way that is, she's kind of similar musically to Dove. They have very similar instruments and very similar, like, you know, they're both in 6/8, they're both in D minor, etc., music stuff. But she is darker, she is lower, and she's more menacing and she has more going on, which I tried to reflect in a lot of her music, which has a lot more layers and like octave doubling than Dove's, which is pretty singular melody line-ish.
Shawn, I know you and Olivia like sit in music meetings together. Did you like have any say in the music for Lady Drake?
No.
Okay.
Next.
Cool.
Sean has one choice that he gets to make every time that I add music into the podcast. He gets one.
Uh-huh. And the choice is? What was the choice this
usually
time?
just when we start playing music.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Actually, we did have a moment, because what we did was our back and forth is I send Olivia clips, and Olivia goes, okay, I'll music the clips, and then we music the clips, and we do the thing, right? But, Olivia sent me this, like, set of clips, and, or sent me back the music, and I lined them all up, but we musicked under the first Lady Drake interaction and the second Lady Drake interaction, but we didn't end up musicking over the last one when we actually talked to her. And I was like, we need music for this section. Only because, like, we had it for other times, we need to have it here, and that actually becomes our ending sting, which I think is my favorite interpolation of the Drake theme.
I love a
so
good
far.
interpolation.
It was really nice. I'll have to go back and listen to it.
I really hope I am using the word interpolation correctly.
Eh.
I would have no way of knowing,
Nah.
so... Okay.
Reprise
Well-
is more so the word you're looking for.
While we're on the topic of Lady Drake, that's another episode or character who kind of got her debut this episode. Shawn, I want to know, like, she strikes me as this really big player in Duskfall. Like, you all are trying to get her to be your, what is it called again?
Sugar
Your
mommy?
envoy. Yes, your sugar mommy.
Yeah,
you want
sugar
Lady Drake to
mommy,
be your
that's
sugar
the-
mommy.
That's a
Technical
codified
term.
term.
Yes,
Yeah.
codified term in the game. And I just want to know, like, more about her introduction and kind of what you were thinking when you, like, made this first impression of her. Have you been thinking about this for a long time? Did you just kind of play it by ear? Like, what's the idea there?
In these first few episodes, I throw a lot of ideas at the players, where I go, it's basically an idea where I go, wouldn't it be cool if the podcast went in this direction? And then the players get to decide if that's an interesting direction or not. Because that's how TTRPGs work. And so in the first few episodes, end up seeding a bunch of things in where I go, isn't this something? This could be something, this, that, the other. And then the players latch onto those ideas. So for Lady Drake to become a thing so early was something that really excited me, because I was like, I have so many ideas for this character. I want to see where they go.
Shawn, one more detail I wanted to point out on that was just how you described Lady Drake's dress with the sequins, as it was kind of like made for this opulent, well-lit environment. I really liked that. Just a cool little detail I wanted to give you kudos for.
Yeah, thanks.
Very nice world building, I'd say.
It's one of the things that I wanted to throw in. I'm very interested in, like, thematically, this podcast. There's strata of, like, you know, the wealthy and the not well-to-do. It's like a huge theme in the book, and I wanted to really play that through. And so hopefully you'll see that in a lot of, like, characters and stuff where it's like, oh, this character has money, or this character doesn't have money, and you'll be
I
able to tell
wonder
from the
what
descriptions.
characters could possibly be reflecting the different aspects of that.
Yeah, I wonder which ones.
I wonder which ones.
Ooh. I will also say that if memory serves, we had a very long break between episode 2 and episode 3, or at least a decently long break, which means that Shawn has more time to write monologues. And if he gets bored enough, he starts adding in shit like imagery and metaphors, and it's like,
Shawn starts painting word
Shawn
pictures
starts
from his
fucking
mind,
painting word
straight
pictures,
from his
and
mind palace.
it's like, what happened here?
Olivia, we recorded that on the same day as episodes 1 and 2.
Did we?
Yes, we did.
We literally did.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, well then he was just overzealous.
I think, you know
As
what,
Shawn
actually,
wants to do.
let's have a fun
As Shawn
time.
is
Let's
wants
still
to
look
do.
at my session notes for that session and just see what I had planned for that.
It has to be in there. It has to. That is the kind of shit that you come up with and you go, oh, that's so smart. Oh, I'm the king of podcasts.
Oh, I'm the king of
Put it in the
podcasting.
final cut,
Oh.
baby.
Olivia, do you really think he would write that down? No. He'd come that up.
See, I all I do when I write for these sessions is I just like I'm just fucking looking at my screen, just clapping at my own work. Like, oh, genius! They're gonna love this one. You know what? I don't think that's a thing. Whoa! I actually came up with that.
You came up with that
I came
on
up
the
with
spot?
that on the spot.
Wow.
No
The
fucking
dress?
way.
It's not in my notes.
Fine, I guess Shawn's good at the podcast.
Not in my notes.
Fine, I guess he paints word
He
pictures.
paints word pictures.
Sometimes my third eye is open when we record this podcast.
It's almost like he's
Given-
been DMing for like 6 years.
He's giving blessings by Obama and Joe Biden. They're all there.
Paula
Clapping.
gifted him with
Peter
the
Griffin's
whatever
there.
prophecy.
They've all gifted him with a second ear.
No,
He
that's
now
actually
has
his Achilles
5.
heel. It's the one thing that
Yeah,
keeps
it's
him
the
in
one
check.
thing. If you give me a second ear, then I can
Shawn-
finally
if Shawn has
access
both ears,
Canada.
he's
audio, and then it's all over.
Have we mentioned on the podcast
Once I
before
learn-
that Shawn doesn't have one?
I don't think
No,
so.
we have
No.
not.
Once I
Shawn-
learn how to
let
pan
Shawn
audio,
back.
it's over for you bitches.
Once Shawn has directional hearing, it's over for us.
For frame of reference, I have my crochet up the right side, so I don't have an ear on that side.
Which is super cool when he works in an audio medium.
I take classes that are like audio classes, and like my professors would be like, today we're gonna be working in stereo, and I'm like, I'm not.
The fuck I will not.
Haha, no.
That's a funny joke, Professor.
Actually, recently on an assignment, this is still off topic. Recently on an assignment, my professor like played my audio for the whole class and was like, Shawn, I have something interesting happened in this one. I want you to just listen to it and we'll just see if you can pick it up. And I went, okay.
Oh,
and he
no.
played it and played the whole thing. And at the end of it, I was like, I'm not sure what the problem was. And he was like, the mono track is only audible on one side. And I went,
And you went, is it
That's
the left
crazy,
side?
Professor.
You'll never guess why.
Bringing us back from being distracted.
Making fun of Shawn.
Making fun of Shawn. Bring us back into the questions. One question I had for kind of all of you is, what scenes would you all have wanted to spend more time on in this downtime? Because, like, Olivia, you really took advantage of this downtime to, like, create some really interesting scenes. And I'm curious as to, like, what other things you would have wanted to, like, bring from your mind palace, or Ren, Dylan, like, what do you want to take advantage of in the future in terms of this kind of storytelling that can happen between scores?
If my whole life on this podcast could just be forcing Shawn to play Debonair and having Dove Debonair fluff, like that, I think that would actually be ideal.
I would also like that. I would also
They're
like
my
that.
token. They're my token straight people. I love them so dearly. I wish straight people were real. Etc. Etc.
Yeah.
Half of our server that we talk about podcasting, like behind the scenes stuff, half of it is just, oh my god, I love Debonair so much. Oh my god, we need more
He's so
Debonair
sexy.
content.
He's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's so
But he is. He's sexy
Fuck
and he's
that
cool.
bitch.
exactly.
Anyway. So I mean, on the one hand, I would just like to generally do more, like, we're gonna do a scene about this now, because I didn't really do, like, any of that in this episode.
Yeah, we were still finding the ropes.
But also, like, more of, like, things that I'd like to do more of, like, based on what I already did, is I actually do really like the idea of kind of working more into reducing heat, and like, how are you doing that? There was a whole argument that Shawn and I got into, not necessarily argument, but like, there was a long period of time when Shawn was going, okay, how are you doing this? And I went, okay, how are you doing this? Well,
Good question,
so like, I would like to find time to try and figure out other ways that Storm can do that. Find ways to like interact with their roles and get more like, get funky with it.
Yeah, because Shawn really hands you the reins there. Shawn really handed you all the reins in this episode.
Which is so terrifying. Which is so...
ride a horse.
Shawn handed us the reins and we went, fuck is this?
Ren, what's your thing?
Very much what Dylan had said, and this, and I think Olivia, you touched on this before with like we're finding our footing with this first downtime. I know for me, I didn't really know what I was doing. In total honesty, I kind of was just like, oh, my stress bar is high. I need to clear that. You know, I thought of it very mechanically. What was that?
I mean, you sure cleared it.
You sure cleared.
That's true.
Okay,
you sure
I want
did
to talk about
clear
that.
it.
I completely forgot about this. You overindulged, and as a result, nothing fucking happened.
Correct. Yep.
Shawn rolled too high for anything to happen.
I really,
Yeah.
what I
Rolled too
wanted,
high to affect us lowly men. Like, it was so funny.
I wanted to say that I would have loved to do another, like a scene or something with that. Even if it was a scene where like there's a lot of threatening stuff happening and Orlin just like passes out drunk before anything bad can happen. Just like a scene.
Yeah.
Just like, they're like, hey, fuck you, and you're like, what?
Me.
Yeah.
Like you're
exactly.
about to get involved and then you just black out.
Yep. Like that kind of thing. Right. And I think we, without saying anything later, I think that starts to change, as we find our footing and get more comfortable with our characters.
Yeah. I think
It'll get better. This
Plummy.
one's a stinker. Am I allowed to say this one's a stinker?
No, this
If you're not,
this one's
I
just
am.
not like plot heavy, you know? That's just the difference. We just don't have a lot of like lore in this episode because it's a technical ep.
Yeah, this was the learn role play episode. Learn the system.
Learn how to be real people.
What's the tag we have under our episodes? Real play, live play,
Actual play.
Actual play.
Actual
This
play,
is the actual
parallel
play
play,
episode.
etc.
Yeah,
Well-
parallel play with us. Yeah, that's definitely
Indulge your vice at home.
that is high key. Like what it is that
Yeah.
we were just kind of getting our footing on this one, which is like entirely how the game works. So I kind of love that.
I do think later on, though, I'm not going to say any details, obviously, but
Our downtime gets a lot more exciting.
We promise.
Kind of the last question or bouncing off point I have for you all is the way this episode ended. You're kind of getting ready to go. You're going into your second score, which is of course good, but it seems like it has more weight to it because this is a score where you want to impress Lady Drake. Also distinctly, I remember Shawn saying she wants you to make it quiet. So this one is going to be a lot different than the score you just had. And I'm wondering if you all can, like, come back in time with me to when you hadn't done this score yet. What are you all looking forward to in this next score?
money.
Money, okay.
Money mostly?
Money.
Mostly money?
Okay.
Mostly
God,
having money?
I love money.
Money's so cool.
Well, you ask a simple
Seriously,
question.
though, no, I really can't think of a smart answer. I'm excited about money and having it.
Yeah. We're
I mean,
an
I
ambitious
think-
gang. Like,
I think that I personally, money, but also I love
We
little
cannot
puzzles.
stress money enough.
Is a fun fact about me.
Dylan does love little puzzles.
So
Oh, really?
this does not really go great with me playing a very much like kind of brute force, loud, violent character. Like those two things don't pair super well. But if we're back in time, I don't know what's happening. But if our next job is like kind of on the DL, it'll be interesting for me to try and figure out like, okay, how do I still do what I'm good at without,
How do you
doing
make the
nothing?
storm be quiet?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How do you have lightning with no thunder?
Yeah. Ren, do you have any thoughts? Did you have any thoughts in the past?
At the time, absolutely not.
Just money?
Yes, absolutely. I
Mostly
mean,
just money.
it sounds dumb, but like as a crew, our whole deal is we want more power, we want money, we want turf, we want rep, and those. What are we getting by doing this job? 1, 2, 3. Like
3 of those.
I mean, yeah, like Orlin as a character is motivated very much by.
Number 1, his hatred for ghosts. Number 2, his love for money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like he signed up to be a part of the gang to do well for himself, and that's the goal.
Shawn, do you have any thoughts?
I want to hurt my players.
We know.
The
I
first
think it was
score.
in this episode that you were like, you guys need to roll worse.
Yeah, I do. I
That was
go
a-
like, oh yeah, you guys can recover harm, but you don't really.
You haven't
need
taken
to.
it. You need to
Ha, ha, ha.
rollers.
I
Shawn
would
is staring
like
very
to
intensely
cause
at us.
Foreshadow,
harm
guys.
to my players. No, what it really is I want to make scores. This is when I start making scores with more moving parts. This one's pretty light. But
So
as
they
we-
hit us in the face.
Yeah.
Sean creates moving parts, and then we step inside of them, and they hit us in the face.
And your crush between them.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
pretty much what it is.
exactly.
It's like a hall of swinging axes and like a pool
Yeah, and
full
we're
of
just
like
like,
You say that
crocodiles.
jokingly, but
But overall, I think that I want more moving parts in these scores, and so I'm going to do that in this next score. And I think I had enough time to plan out and make some more interesting things. Oh, actually, more interestingly, this is the time when I dig down into the mechanics more so. So we start messing with things like tier and like various complications that can come up
and
organically.
clocks.
And clocks, which is really fun.
Clocks.
So
I'm
do a bunch of
always very
research.
impressed. Oh, God.
we start looking into. We're gonna start looking into like more game mechanics to bolster our scores.
Yeah. I was going to say, as someone who gets to hear some behind the scenes works and thoughts on this podcast before any of you players do, I'm always very impressed at how well you keep track of everything in your mind.
He's got a mind palace. He's the king of podcasts. He's the king of comedy. He was awarded by Barack Obama himself, etc.
My mind palace doesn't keep track of anything.
My mind palace is a bouncy castle.
My mind
And with
palace.
that-
This is a real fact about me that has come up multiple times. My mind palace is an infinite portal from the game Portal.
Okay, everybody, describe your mind palace.
Vroom, 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 vroom.
Mine
Mine is a Minecraft dirt house.
Okay, Ren, what's your mind palace?
Mine is a beautiful glass manor in the middle of the nastiest, grossest swamp you've ever imagined.
That checks out. That checks out so hard.
Okay, Shawn, yours.
In the center of my mind palace is my thanks to you listeners for listening to this episode of the Foolish Chronicle Talkback, episode 3. Thank you so much. We will be coming out with another one in 2 weeks after episode 4 drops.
Thanks for joining
Thank
our
you,
Patreon.
Shawn.
We
Look,
love
if you
you.
join the Patreon, I'll do whatever.
I don't do anything for money.
For $20.
anything.
Our Patreon is basically just a new version
We
of
must
Fiverr.
end the episode. The episode
Talk
must end.
shit, get hit. Good night, everybody.